Hi guys, I'm Phill from Australia and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're working on with the Motley. You can find the sheet music through the affiliate link in the description below if you'd like to work along with this video. If you haven't already, you can hear a full recording of this on my album, The Operatic Trumpet. I'll also leave a link in the description below. I'd recommend listening to the album so that you've got the whole ensemble with the trumpet and the piano working together, and it gives you a more holistic approach to how it goes. Once you've got your sheet music, grab your trumpet, let's get started. For us to play this song well, we need to understand a little bit about the backstory. Now this is a jester or a clown. Now clowns were seen as basically one step above animals. They're peasants. They're the lowest class that we can think of in society. He's in love with someone from the top class. So from the upper class, she's got all of the wealth, all of the riches, and she's seen as right up the top. He would like to act upon this relationship, but because he's from the lower class and she's from right up the top of the upper class, it is completely taboo, not to go, not happening at all, no if, buts, or maybes. So instead of pursuing the relationship, this lower socioeconomic clown or jester, he writes a song and sings this song about it while he's preparing for his act or preparing for his show. So he's putting the clown face on and all that sort of thing. So keeping that in mind, this is a very sad song, a very heart-wrenching song, a very painful and sorrow emotions to go with it. So think about those sorts of pain as we're approaching this. So I like to use long and firm articulation to help dictate the severity or the seriousness of the words he's using. In this opening phrase, he says, I'm not a man, I'm a jester. So I use the long notes and the firm articulation to make the really bold statement. But when he gets to the end of jester, which is actually beat one of the third bar that we play in, that's, to me, it's kind of like a realization point, an acceptance of I'm just a jester. But then it starts to build a little bit again after that. So he talks about how he puts on the paint, the face paint, how his job is to make people laugh. You know, he might not like it, but that is his responsibility and he needs to get on with the show. That's what On With The Motley is. It's On With The Motley, on with the show kind of vibe. He's still upset. He's still angry about the situation, but he needs to get on with it. And that's, you know, strong language again, strong language all the way through. And the rubato there, but make sure you still have rhythmic accuracy. So rubato is pushing and pulling of the tempo, not playing rhythmically wrong. Now the agitato, I go a little bit firmer and a little bit faster through this section here, right? We've got to get on with the show here, right? I need to move on, I've got a job to do. And you can hear how the phrase is going through to that G at the end, right? So I'm using a lot of volume, so I'm crescendoing through this phrase. I'm also using a lot of wide vibrato, just like I would if I was to see this being sung by a singer. So I've got the ba-bum, ba-dim-bim, right? Agitation, so I've got more accent, more definition on the front of the note, and a bit more speed. And then I crescendo through, to get to that last note. It's the climax of this kind of section. Then we have cantabile. Then I'm back into sweetly, so singingly, sweetly, to kind of, you know, once again, that acceptance of, I've got to accept who I am. So that's how I approach that opening section. Lots of rubato through here, lots of movement, lots of different characters. So the first character is anger. I am not a human. Bold statement. I'm not a human. I'm a jester. Then acceptance of that a little bit. Then I need to put on my paint. I need to play my role. Get to the climax of this section. I am a jester. And then acceptance of this. Now is into the heartbreak. Now here we're at a tempo, a steady tempo. It's an adagio, so it's quite slow. I actually think about this when I'm learning it in 4. So it's in quavers or eighth notes, so bum and 2 and 1 and 2 and. That helps me get the rhythmic accuracy and prevent the tempo from slowing down or speeding up. But I want the phrasing to feel like I'm in 2. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's how I'm thinking about this. So while I'm learning it, especially to keep the tempo moving, think in quavers. Once you've got the hang of it and your tempo's consistent and moving and you've got the rhythm right, then think about it in 2/4 so that you've got that the pulse and the phrasing from that. You can hear how there's a few phrases in there and there's a few different answer and call responses there. This first phrase, gentle, relaxed, humble, right? And it's just those first 4 bars. So make sure we're playing really long notes and keep the volume of the note the same volume pretty much throughout the whole note, okay? Don't want any wah-shaped notes. We don't want it to die away from them. We want to keep the sound, if you're looking at the sound wave, it just goes up and then closes at the end of the phrase. The end of the phrase tapers, but it's pretty much a block of sound, right? It helps us keep that sadness, that sorrow going. Make sure that you're really deliberate with putting notes on the beat. If it's on the beat, make sure it's right on the beat. The crotchets need to be full length. So, make sure it's actually better to be slightly late than it is to be slightly early. The peak of this phrase is the F on the 1, 2, 3, the 4th bar of this phrase. So you're aiming every note before that F on beat 1 is a leading 2 note. You get to that F, that's the at note, and then you're dying away a little bit to shape off the phrase. So this second phrase, we've got a little bit more agitation going on here. So we want to pick up the tempo, we want to pick up the brightness of sound a little bit as well. And this is all going through to the beat 1 in bar 21 of this phrase. And then as soon as we get to the 2 and of bar 21, we need to suddenly back off, right? Suddenly into like what would be the falsetto kind of vibe and backing off and really gentle. And then this phrase, we've backed off and we're still in that subtle, we're quiet, and we're just slightly growing into the end of this phrase on the beat 1 in that 4th bar of this phrase where there's that accent, growing slightly into that accent, and then it's like an air accent. Beat on. Back away again. So it's all about that tension and release and that agitation and the backing off of the, you know, the emotion. So we've got this character of someone who's really hurt kind of vibe as well. Then the next bit, the last 4 bars before B are back into quite agitated as well. And then the last 4 bars before B, we want to be quite agitated again. Now, the way that we can kind of approach this is the agitated, so a little bit more volume in the 4th bar before B. Then on the F, so beat 2, once again back off, so ba-dee, ba-beam. And then the last semiquavers, or the last beat before the bar before B, we want to slow them back a little bit, and then into beat 1. Then once we hit that bar before B, it's moving back into tempo again. There's a lot going into it in this section from A through to just after B, the rest's there. So I'm going to link all them together. Have a listen to how the character changes quite frequently and how it changes quite a lot. It's still that sad and angry vibe, but you can hear how he goes through those different stages of sorrow and how it changes like that. So have a close listen. Now this section through C is like the biggest heartbreak section of the entire piece. It needs to be really drawn out. It needs to be full of sound, wide vibrato, full long notes, the firm articulation. All right, this is the heartbreak of the entire piece, right? So it's got to really be, it's going to stand out from everything else that we do. So if we've been firm before, we need to be firmer again here. So don't go overboard before. Now, save it for this part here. The 2 bars before C, I like to start about a mezzo piano, mezzo forte, and put that crescendo through. That helps me get through to the fortissimo at C. And then as yeah, it's like big chords from the piano. Bong, ching, bong, ching is going on in the piano. And we are be-dee-da-dee. If anything, you want to be late onto the big notes. So be late onto the semi, off the semis onto the beat ones kind of thing. So really big, bold statements here. You can hear how this phrase is like the most ripping apart of the soul that you can think of. This guy's in absolute agony of the heart and he can't take it anymore, and it brings him to tears, which is like that last dying section. He's bringing him to sobbing pain kind of thing. After heart-wrenching, big, bold, he comes down to a gentle sob. This same phrase is repeated in this last section, but the thing is, I start a bit stronger with this scale going up to the top before I play the phrase. Once again, die away quite quickly so that you're breaking into that sorrow and that pain again. Now in the opera, as soon as he's finished with this, he's then straight onto stage, smiles on his face like none of this actually happened. So quite a sad part of the moment in the opera, but you know, really powerful aria as well. If you'd like to learn on with the Motley, you can get the sheet music from my website. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can get it from there. Go and check out my album, The Operatic Trumpet. You can hear a recording of it there. And next week, we're going to come back and learn some Rusalka's Song to the Moon. As always, I'm Phill from Australia, and happy practicing.